with Samsung,
Yeah.
and first year of your tenure at Samsung was working on a Samsung chat model,
Yeah, chat on.
chat messenger, chat on, and your major focus was to Indianize that product. Now, my question is, how do you Indianize a product? Like, what elements you add to a product so it becomes more Indian friendly? Because India is a very like not India, like Asia and other side of the world are like two different countries, like East and West, in terms of like education, the way they interact with the product, the way they accept digital technology is also different. So, how do you Indianize a product?
So I would say that there are some things which are common across the world, and there are some things which are not common across the world. And for example, food is not common. For example, dressing is not common. But the need to go from one place to the other is common. The need for healthcare is common.
Yeah,
How we perceive healthcare might be different, but again, hearts function in pretty much the same way.
yeah,
So the device which will work here might work there as well. Again, the use cases might differ. So I would say some things are entirely for a region, some things are same. So Uber is a case in point, Airbnb is a case in point, where everything would work everywhere. But when McDonald's comes here, they have to change their menu and stuff
yeah,
like that. So now this is an app which is a chat messenger, and not doing so well actually at that time. And finally, Samsung closed it because it did not get the worldwide attention that it should have got. So, and WhatsApp killed it
yeah,
basically, and WeChat in China. So,
yeah,
WeChat is a huge platform in China, and here WhatsApp is too big.
yeah,
So, yeah, but we can, as you said, customize it for a particular audience. In India, also there's so much diversity that it's very difficult to really customize for a particular audience. But saying that, what our initial thought was that okay, fine, if we have been given this task of Indianizing this in a way, we need to bring in some features and reduce some features so that it doesn't become too heavy, but it starts looking that this we understand your context, we understand the context that we stay in, and how do we understand that? The easy thing about chat is that all of us are users of it.
yeah,
So you and me are users of it. So okay, we understand it very well. We only understand it very well. So that's a good starting point. We really do not need to understand it again. So for example, if you go for an ultrasound machine, you will have to understand it. You will have to go deep and understand how camp workers work, how much time would they have, their hands are dirty, slimy, greasy. Okay, then you need a different screen, then it means that the force will be even harder.
yeah,
So that becomes a different problem altogether. You have to first understand the subject very well. Here the subject matter is understood very well, but
yeah,
we need to verify it. So the way we started was using our own internal Samsung resources in the way of people, and conducting brainstorming sessions into understanding what are the trends,
okay,
just understanding common trends, because this is something which is so uh, viral. Messaging is so viral
yeah,
that everybody is doing it.
yeah,
So we need to understand. Uh, so we had market data telling us who are buying our phones.
yeah,
We know that data. We have this segmentation done. So we already have these segments done. Youth, 25 to women, So we started doing focus group discussions within the company
okay,
first, just to save money.
mm,
Going out would charge more, and before we had concepts, nobody would invest in us as well. So we were just doing that and coming out with trends,
okay,
saying for this segment, for women, safety becomes a topic. Safety becomes a very important topic.
yeah,
And if you look at news trends, if you look at the focus group discussions that we had, the interviews that we had, everything is pointing towards uh, women's safety as being the most glaring topic.
yeah,
And so yeah, so that became for us, okay, fine, we have to do something about that. Similarly, here we realized, we talked to recent joinees, which were like parents and families, we realized that family groups becomes extremely important as well.
yeah,
So we need to do something about that as well. Family, okay, and there's a lot of noise in family as well. Fine. So family, we will take family as an important topic. Similarly, for the young group which was buying our phones, we realized that this was the time of Anna Hazare movement.
mm,
Exactly that time when that happened,
okay,
and everybody was going berserk with forwarding messages about revolution and stuff like that.
yeah,
So that became very important again. Okay, igniting passion, igniting social causes. So social causes became a very important topic for us.
yeah,
So we said, okay, fine, let's take these three topics to our research. We said that these are the topics that, and again, in usual design process, we started brainstorming and we realized that women's safety, these are the ideas that we can bring in. So we had an idea around fake calls. We had an idea around giving areas. The moment you get into an area which has reported anything, or you go into an auto which we can, whose number we have, etc. So we had these danger zones marked. We had these stuffs marked. Finally, only the idea around fake calls was brought in, but that also was pretty good. At that time, it was the first of its kind. Fake calls, basically, there is a call by itself on that number. You can also create fake calls by saying at this time there will be a fake call, and there can be voice recorded in that, which can again say something to you. So it became a part of the application. For Revolution, what we started was templates based causes. So you want to start a cause and you want to get people together. So the whole feature became like a cause feature. So how do you add people? How do you photographs? How do you put your logo? Your templates for logos, those kind of things, which looked revolutionary and stuff like that. So pretty exciting project there. I mean, the designers had a ball doing it.
Yeah.
And then for family, this was the smallest feature, but somehow it got the most response.
Okay.
This was the biggest, because in terms of investment, creating a full template library, this one also was very difficult because technically recording the voice, playing it at the right time, big challenge. But this one was simplest. This was, if there's anybody in the family group who's talking more, you just long press it and say shut up, and it shuts up. In your view of things,
Yeah.
that's it.
So you're like muting them.
You're like kind of muting them, but we call it shut up, or so that, and the other person can also hear it if you want him to hear it, the shut up. So as simple as that. And this, though it's so simple to implement, this was the one which was kind of, which went first, which got us the most recognition in terms of such a small feature but still works.
Yeah.
Other than that, we did a lot of visual design changes. So how it looks, wallpapers. We made a lot of sticker sets. So Shadi sticker set.
Yeah.
We had, so Chumbak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say we were completely inspired from Chumbak, but Chumbak, we had say a Chumbak flavor in our
Indianized.
in. So what we gave, so we had like 7 visual designers, and we gave them a challenge. Go ahead and make your set, sticker set, and then we did an open design voting, and then we refined it. Refinement takes time, but at least the first set is like Bollywood, our sets, cricket, and then we brought them together.
Okay, so in the healthcare domain, how do you conduct research and feedback processes? Because it's health, and the margin of going wrong in that domain is pretty thin. So
Yeah.
how do you go about the research and feedback processes?
I would generalize it to a larger level and say how do we do the right way? How do we do research the right way? And because I have this very firm belief that because some people are not doing it the right way,
Yeah,
the general thought is that design research is wasteful,
yeah,
at least in India.
okay,
That's a general thought. How many startups can say that they have done research, user research? There would be very few. And there's a reason for it, because people are not doing it the right way.
okay,
Research doesn't mean that it will happen in like 4 months, there'll be a lot of churning happening. Not necessarily. We can make the design research phase a little shorter, sharper. From our point of view, for example, if you're doing research, what we should keep in mind is that this research itself is a design artifact. ये रिसर्च जो रिपोर्ट निकालेगी, ये रिसर्च जो प्रेजेंटेशन निकालेगी, मूवी निकालेगी, एनिमेशन निकालेगी, कुछ भी निकालेगी, what is the deliverable of this report is by itself a designed product.
okay,
So let's treat it like that. That I am not just doing research for designing a product. This research is much more valuable than just one product. This research might bring me much more products and much more insights, and will help the product team or the leadership or management to open their eyes towards a lot of things they don't even know.
Yeah.
And you are going there in the field. It's an opportunity. Please don't treat it as a travel break.
okay,
It is a very important opportunity. It is a lifetime opportunity to understand that kind of people. Do capture the interviews in one way or the other. And then when you come back, please digitize them.
okay,
If you don't digitize them, you're thinking that you'll remember everything? Yes, you might for like 15-20 minutes. But after that, you don't remember everything.
yeah,
It's short-term memory. We need to digitize it to make it forever.
Yeah.
So think of research results as forever documentation, and that will make you feel better. So do it like that, and then put it in Excel sheets or wherever you feel comfortable with, and then make it ready for people to consume it. Fundamentally, go with this thought that every person that you're going to interview is a great person. I need to understand this person.
Okay.
If you go with this thought, you will definitely get some good insights. If you go with the thought that I have an interview to do, I have 14 interviews this week, and I need to wrap this up and get down to some sketching and ideation,
Yeah.
you already failed, because this in itself is a product. So this is something I would like to highlight about, and this becomes very important in healthcare, where the person is sick. If you're talking about patients, you're talking about nurses, they don't have time. Doctors have no time at all. Getting time out of doctors, so we use strategies. We used to meet them only on when they're on leave or when they're night at homes. So traveling to their homes at night 9:30, 10, then having a cup of tea with them at that time opened them up much more than if you go and sit like a patient waiting for the doctor.
Yeah.
That is also important to observe how a doctor behaves during the day, but he behaves very differently after a drink.
Yeah.
And so one needs to understand. Again, nurses, if you want to talk to them, if you're talking to nurses while they are working, is stupid, because they are always on alert.
Mm.
Patients, we need to interview them while they're sick
Yeah.
and when they are well, so that they can be objective and non-objective about it. So I think this is something that we need to understand depending on the category of people
Yeah.
that we are going to interview. But the essentials remain the same about research.
So, what percentage of time should be given to research, and what percentage should be given to, sitting and sketching and putting it in pixels?
Good question. I think the complexity of the project will define it.
Okay.
For example, if you're doing a machine which you have, for example, you know that shock machine, you might need to do research for a year.
Oh, yeah.
You need to know it so well because it's a life-threatening situation. If you're doing an ad campaign, you might not research
Yeah.
at all, or you're just publishing a poster. You might go with your gut feeling at that time.
Mm.
So it depends on the complexity of the project. If you're designing a physical object, then definitely when you make the prototypes,
Yeah.
then there'll be a lot of ideation at that time. Sorry, a lot of studies at that time as well. So do you want to do it before or do you want to do it later? With some mock-ups. That's up to you again. But at some point of time, you have to do it. With physical, it's very important because you have to check the ergonomics, you've got it right, the weights, the texture, the paints, which come later. So I think it'll vary.
So, then what I can understand, it depends on the percentage of error and the percentage of going wrong is how
Yes,
it depends on.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
How much do we as designers already know about it? How much are we very passionate about this thing? नहीं ये चलेगा. I think कभी कभी gut feeling पे भी जाना चाहिए. It's not wrong. At no point will I say that there shouldn't be any project where you did not do what you felt was right, and with your knowledge and with whatever you had. That's also sometimes fine. But yes, as you said, moving towards healthcare is a riskier business. You can't do that there. Moving towards entertainment is a little more easy that ways,
Yeah.
and you can do that. So yeah.
So next you went on and worked with Zomato, and you worked on the first B2B product that Zomato launched for
Zomato base.
Zomato base, which was for restaurants. It was management of the restaurant. So my question is, when you're working on a product from the scratch, and how do you decide upon the MVP of the product, and at like what point you decide this is a minimal viable product that can go into the market?
If a company says that they want to do MVP, you should not join.
Why so?
Uh, for the simple reason that they're already saying that we don't want to make a good product. We just want to make a minimum viable product.
Okay.
So again, the whole thing that we talked about earlier, good design, storytelling,
Yeah.
all that goes for a toss here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think MVP should be done. It should be done. I'm not against it. It should be done, but for a technological proof of concept.
Yeah.
From that point of view, MVP makes a lot of sense. That's okay. That's like innovation.
Yeah.
You make it. You have to prove it.
Mm.
So for that point of view, okay. For example, if you're talking about Zomato base, and if we have like 20 restaurants in a particular area, does this work? If we have 40, does it work? Yeah. If that kind of technology you want to test, and that's your aim, then fine, do it. You don't even need a designer on top of it. at this point of time. So so I think it's fine for startups when they want to get investments
Yeah.
and they don't have money to pay for designers. Not saying that it's a good trend.
Yeah.
In fact, I would like to say more and more designers should be startup owners or founders, and that will change a lot of things because then from the start there is a story. From the start there is heart. Uh, so, but yeah, if you don't have that, it's fine as a technical proof of concept. But then it's not a product for me. I'm not in for MVPs.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
So it's not a process that a company should have. Like uh, launching a product phase
Yeah.
wise is not how it should be. Like launching a product.
No, phase wise is fine. The problem is with MVP, the definition says minimum viable product. Well, phase is something else. Phase is saying that I'll have 10 features now, I'll have 20 features later.
Okay.
I'm fine with a phased approach,
Okay.
but the phase one itself should not be minimum viable. The phase one should be lovable.
Yeah.
Minimum lovable product, not
Yeah.
minimum viable product. So I
Okay.
think that will be better. So viable के चक्कर में compromise is too much, and you don't need a designer then.
सेल्स कंस्ट्रेन आ जाता है
ज्वाइन ही नहीं करना
business
चाहिए.
constraint.
डिज़ाइनर को लाओ ही मत. अगर आपको सिर्फ MVP बनाना है,
Hmm.
please do not hire a designer and don't spoil his, don't make his life miserable for the next 4 months. So yeah.
So next you went on and worked at Roundglass, and you were back to healthcare. Now you have done significant amount of work in healthcare at multiple companies, and both your parents are doctors. So I see a connection there. So is it that your parents have actually influenced the way you design, particularly in healthcare?
Interesting. So I don't know if they, yeah, I don't think they have a relationship with design as such, but so when I used to come back from school when I was in Meerut, and I used to a lot of time go to my father's clinic, and he used to have these patients waiting outside and inside. So I used to sit inside, and he used to meet patients. And I was at that time only wishing that why does this guy need to talk so much to these patients? And he used to say 15-20 minutes to patients. Sometimes they would not pay also, and I was like, this is really foolish stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm compromising on my playing time with him, and I used to really dislike the fact that he used to spend so much time in his clinic. And but as I grew up, and now that I see back and look back at all my research, and I understand, so a typical government doctor would spend 2 minutes, and here was that guy spending 20-15 minutes per patient. So it does make me realize that how important are relationships in healthcare.
Yeah.
How important is it to talk, to provide that empathy, to provide that care, and it goes just beyond giving medicines. A lot of placebo which happens, and when we're designing the patient bedside device, I'm sure that could have crept in and keep coming back when you talk to patients.
Yeah.
And I think yes, in that ways, in a way yes. Also the fact that not cutting corners. So if he had a patient, for example, even for my mother, if they had patients, if they had people waiting on them,
Yeah.
they would not cut corners. They would not say my job is done, and then you kind of leave that thing and leave a patient hanging. You can't do that. Similarly, I think it's for every professional ethic that are we cutting corners or not. So I think these two qualities do come in from there. Though they, from a design point of view, design sense point of view, I don't think so.
All right. So now you're visiting faculty at many institutes, design institutes in India. Now these all are premier institutes, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you had to like hire a student from one of these institutes, like these all institutes are premier, and these all the students are very brilliant.
Yeah.
Because they are like graduated from
They
the
are,
premier,
yes.
and you have to select one from them for your company to work under you. How do you select? How do you recognize the talent or that person from these people who are all so talented?
I make mistakes, and I've made like drastic mistakes at times, and I've been wrong with judging people.
Okay.
But I do go mostly on my gut feeling. It's a lot of portfolio as well. It's not that I don't see the portfolio, but I feel that if portfolio is not enough, so you have a good portfolio, and then you can, and our conversation has been very good. So I cannot just talk on phone and hire somebody. I need to meet that person. I've never hired anybody just by talking on phone.
Okay.
We have rejected, but we have never hired on phone, because you need that personal connection. This guy is going to work with me for the next 3-4 years, maybe for. So there are people who have worked with me for almost 8 years now. So in fact, the first person that I hired has traveled with me to all the companies except Amazon.
Okay.
The second person that I hired has also traveled with me to all the companies that I've been to. So wherever I'm going, these people are coming with me, and that gives me a lot of heart, because whenever I call them and I tell them, there's good work here, there's good thing happening, come join.
Yeah.
They come, and uh, there's this trust factor. So that's how I look at somebody, that I'm going to work with him for a long period of my life, and we're going to meet every day, and so it's like almost trying to find a girlfriend in that ways.
Yeah.
Uh, so you need to have that connect. You need to understand if they like me, I like them, and it's mutual.
Yeah.
And you can understand other people also who don't like this kind of people. They will show the dislike in the conversation, and then it's like, see you then. So it's portfolio, and it's a lot of gut feeling and talking, I think, which helps. And this is also one thing which I do. I always give feedback.
Yeah.
They like it or not. Not like blatant saying that you are an arrogant ass, but things like, this is what you can do to your portfolio.
Mm.
And I generally am frank that I think this might not work.
Okay. So now these designers, like they're going to graduate and go into the industry. So
Yeah.
what are the basic things, basic important points or tips, or basic but very important points that you would suggest to these designers so they can cope up with the industry?
Okay. So I would say, don't compromise,
Okay.
first of all. Don't compromise, don't lose heart. If this company doesn't work the right way, don't change your way forever. Things haven't worked for me as well.
Yeah.
There have been an instance where I went into a wrong place and I realized very quickly, and I left it very quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly leave it. Thankfully, there is enough design jobs right now for you to experiment, and that's okay. Your resume might look, jittery,
Mm.
but that's okay. That's okay. I think right now there's, and that's good. So you have journeyed from one company to the another company. It's like walking into another world. This company will be very different from the other company. So try. It's okay.
Okay.
I would say, don't compromise on your ethics. Don't compromise on your design processes. Yes, you can adjust. You can be smart, but compromise is a different thing.
Yeah.
So don't compromise on that. Keep moving if you have to move. That's okay. Secondly, don't stop working on your skills.
Okay.
Even today, I am learning new skills every day, and I feel अभी तो डर लगता है कि यार अभी ये नया सॉफ्टवेयर आएगा, अभी इसको कैसे समझना है मुझे पहले.
Mm.
Because if I don't know it, and if other people in the company are coming and telling me, that's not the right way.
Yeah.
I should be on top of the software, and the moment you get to know of a new software, try exploring it. Try exploring it. At least you should know about it. If you like it. For example, Sketch. When I started, I was like, I was just looking at it because everybody was saying sketch, 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 sketch. I said, okay, fine, sketch lao, download करते हैं. Like, what the, this is, छोड़ दो सब कुछ. So that happens, right? And then the industry changes completely. And drastically in the next 2 years, I saw that the industry has changed.
Yeah.
Everybody has moved on to, we were talking about the combinations of Sketch, Zeppelin, Marvel, and plugins are coming in, and Adobe has been shot completely.
Yeah.
So keep exploring. Have another talent or have another thing that you love, which is not saying that I don't like my day job and that's why I do this. No, it's not like that. It's like, I love this and I love this as well. Again, like having two girlfriends, maybe it's not bad. And you can, in this case, because you have the weekends to you have after work hours that you have with you, and we are still, maybe the company is not able to absorb all your creativity, maybe the company is not able to give you everything, and it will not be, right? Because they're paying you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You will have to deliver on some fronts. There will be some constraints, so accept those constraints as you grow up, and also do something else that you, and I've realized that most people do have these passions and they love music, or they love singing, acting, dance, whatever you like, and pursue that also very seriously. Why not? And so I think that gives a good mix of things, and gives you a good avenue to release that anger if at times you have it. So that's very important. Yeah, I think those would be few.
Okay, so it was great talking to you. Too much of insights, and it was amazing to know like your journey. Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome. I was very happy to be here, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.